That airplane just dropped. And I went down the runway on 2 Penprops, 2 engine nacelles, and no gear. And it turns out I developed an astigmatism, and I'd lost my depth perception, and I didn't know where I was. I thought I knew exactly where I was, and I didn't. So they washed me out of the program because back in those days you couldn't fly with glasses. From there on, they sent me down to Murray, Kentucky. Anybody know where Murray, Kentucky is? Murray, Kentucky is a beautiful country. It just really is. We soon learned that it was the home of beautiful horses and dressed women. When I was down there, there were 120 male students there.
Talk a little louder.
There was a
Talk a little louder.
There was a student body of 1,200. 120 of us were male. Well, we didn't particularly want to go to school, you understand. But we did have to study because if we didn't, they wouldn't keep us there. And with 10 women for every man, this was a pretty good arrangement. We liked it a lot. So I spent 2.5 years down there and got my degree in physics. And the reason I got a degree in physics and a minor in math was the fact that I didn't have to study for them. They were easy for me. And I had more time for the girls.
A little louder, Gordon.
Okay, I'm sorry. The next assignment I had was the mine fleet, and I was sent down to Georgia, where I picked up a YMS. I don't know whether any of you know what a YMS, but it stands for Yard Mine Sweep, but it really isn't. I was engineering officer. I didn't know what made the ship go, which is typical, you know, back in those days. I was an ensign, so they made me an engineering officer. I spent about 3 days, the first 3 days, making a nuisance of myself, and the chief got a hold of me, and he said, "Mr. Bowles, I'll make a deal with you." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "You stay out of my engine room, you leave my people alone, you take care of them, see if they get liberty and promotions and so forth, but you don't do anything else." And he said, "I will guarantee you'll have all the information you need for your 2000 reports," which you report to the captain at 8 o'clock in the evening, that you'll get good fitness reports and you'll get promoted when you're due. Well, I was young and I wasn't very smart, but I did have sense enough to understand that the chief was offering me a real deal. I took it. The only time I went down to the engine room from that time on was on Friday afternoons for inspection. And I wasn't doing the inspecting, the captain was. We spent 6 months, around about that, escorting convoys over to Murmansk. You know all that where Murmansk was. Well, in the middle of winter, there is nothing colder than the North Atlantic. And we'd have 6 and 8 inches of ice on the guns. Couldn't have fired if we wanted to. Couldn't have pushed an ash can across the stern. Couldn't have done anything except just try to stay warm. On the last trip, I learned that I had orders and I was going to be transferred. Well, that was great because the Navy was going to have to send me someplace that was warmer. There wasn't any place any colder than the North Atlantic. So when I got in, I found that I had a set of orders to a PT boat squadron in Adak, Alaska. I didn't spend very much time up there because I was too damn cold. But I later on was transferred to George Washington University, where I received my 2nd degree. You see, I'm really delighted with the Navy. I really am, because the Navy got me 2 degrees, I have 3 children, all of whom are doctors, I might add. I had to throw that out for your information. And they, the most any of my kids cost me was $7.25. Now, I couldn't ask for anything more than that. Anyway, after having gotten my degree, I was transferred to Monterey for what was then called the line school. It's now the postgraduate school, where I taught military law. I was a lieutenant junior grade at that point, and I met my wife, or the lady who turned out to be my wife, married her. Then I was transferred to Guam, which was probably the best duty I ever had anywhere. It was a beautiful place down in those days. I was staff commandant Marianas, and I was promoted to lieutenant commander down there. I was someplace along the line, and I'm kind of getting things out of order here, because Korea came along, and I was sent over to Korea, where I had a squadron of minesweepers, and I picked up another Purple Heart over there, damn it. Let's see. Oh. When I returned to the States afterwards, I was asked if I would take a billet as executive officer of a CV battalion. And I explained that I wasn't a CV officer. Can you hear me? I wasn't a CV officer, and I couldn't fill the billet. They said that was all right, they just needed a temporary executive officer, because there wasn't an XO for this particular battalion. So I said, all right, I'll take it for a short-term basis. And I reported into Fort Wainini to the commanding officer of the battalion. And he said, geez, I'm glad to see you here. I said, why? And he said, well, I said, I can understand not being able to run a battalion without an XO. He said, no, that isn't the reason. And I said, what's the reason? And he said, I've got orders, I'm leaving. I said, great. When are you leaving? And he said, tomorrow. I said, who's the new CO? And he said, you are. So that short term turned out to be 3 years. And I got to take the battalion to Nam. Now that was fun. I took 565 men to Vietnam, and I brought the same 565 men back, and I was delighted, because the best thing I could have done. Didn't have any problems with drugs, had a number of people wounded, but nothing that was serious. So it was good duty. Covers it today.
Gentlemen and ladies, could we give Pearl Harbor survivor Gordon Bowles